Hello students, welcome to Mahamana Academy. So in the previous lecture, we have discussed the content of CUET, and then we have also discussed the second chapter of CUET, or the first chapter of NCERT, that is nation building, and we have discussed the three basic problems, that was democracy problem, nation integration, and the development. Okay, so these three, why I am telling this three problem again and again, because your chapters are so much related to these three problems, right? And then we have discussed the traumas, partition, and the role of Gandhiji in the previous class, right? So today we are going to start the first problem we can say after independence, that is integration of princely state. So before reading about or studying about this integration of princely state, first we have to be very clear what is princely state and what is British province. Okay, so here you can see the map. You can see this blue portion. This blue portion is the princely state. Okay, and this is a British province. So princely state is somehow, British province is under the control of British colonial rulers, but princely state were somehow independent in their internal matters, right? So when so first you have to very clear, you have to have this clarity of what is which region is a British province and which is the princely state, right? And then we will move forward. So here you can see that how the internal matters is under the control of rulers in the princely state, and the British province is under the British colonial people, right? Can you see this picture? So I'm going to open the next slide. So you know what happened after independence, that they have given us the choice. And what was the choice? I have highlighted because maybe they can ask in MCQs. But what is important here to understand is that after independence, what they have given the choice either to join India, to Pakistan, or to remain independent. Okay, so the British colonial people, when they gave us the independence, they have given the choice to this princely states, right? British province basically divided into two areas, either in India and Pakistan. That was by the colonial people, but to the princely state they have given the choice. They have given the choice to either join India, to Pakistan, or to remain independent, and that was the problem, right? So somehow it became the problem because now every princely state wants to be free, right? So they basically wanted to remain independent, and that was the problem. Why we were so why we have faced so much problem while integrating this states, right? So basically that the problem which I am talking about, this problem came basically from the ruler of Travancore, Nizam of Hyderabad, and the Nawab of Bhopal. We will also discuss about Junagadh and other states, but basically these are the three important reasons where we have faced the major difficulties, right? So this is a very basic fact that you have to learn, that at that time the major role played by Sardar Patel, he was deputy prime minister, or you can say that home minister at that point, and Jawaharlal Nehru, he was the PM that time, okay, prime minister at that time. So these two people have their crucial role in integrating nations, right? They have at the very bottom level, they have gone and talked to the princely state rulers. They have approached them in a very in a very familiar way. Also, they have tried their best to persuade those princely states. So basically, वो क्या करते थे कि they used to go to meet those princely state, और उनसे बहुत informally way में in a way to pursue, उनसे बात करते थे बहुत ही informal way में, right? कि आप मान जाइए, हम आपको थोड़ी autonomy दे देंगे, but please get integrate into our nation, right? So this was their approach, and that's why these two people are very important, right? So in Saurashtra region, basically Gujarat region, right? Saurashtra region of Gujarat, 14 big states, 119 small states. So you can see how in Orissa also there is 26 small states. So you can see the complexities ki kaise they have reached to those princely state rulers, and they have accommodated to certain extent, but somehow they faced problem to certain places, and that we are discussing here. When they were approaching to the princely state, the whatever consideration they have there in mind, so these were the three. The first thing, they are very clear that the people of people of those princely state, they want to join India, right? It's another thing that the princely state rulers are not willing to join, but they were very much willing to join India because that gives them more facilities, right? And then the second approach they had is a flexible approach. What do you mean by flexible approach? It means that they were ready to give them autonomy. And what is autonomy? It's a kind of certain facilities, or you can say that they have likewise in colonial period, they have given the foreign policies and the other things are get managed by the colonial people, but the internal matters are somehow managed by the princely states. So that was the autonomy. In the same way, they were willing to give them autonomy, that you can manage your internal affairs. So basically autonomy kya hai ki they are managing the defense policy, foreign policy, but if princely state wants, they can give them autonomy also, that they can manage their internal affairs. So they were very flexible to give them autonomy, right? So that was their second approach. And then the third is, they were very clear that integration and accommodation is their prime objective, right? So everything they were doing for the objective that they have to accommodate and integrate the nation so that the unity can be formed. When we are discussing about the three problems, we are also discussing about the democracy. So how the democracy can be formed? Democracy can be formed when there is a unity. And if the princely state got divided into different different states, different regions, it is not possible to have that unity, right? So that's why their primary objective was to integrate and consolidate into one, right? So it is good for administrative purpose also, right? So that's why they had this primary objective in their mind when they were approaching the princely state rulers. So one important thing that you have to understand in this slide is this instrument of accession, right? So what is instrument of accession? It's a kind of document that that somehow shows ki now they are formally integrating into the boundary of India, right? So it's a formal document. It's a document, right? Probably they can ask you in MCQs. So you have to very clear that it's a document signed by whom? By the princely states, whoever is joining the Indian states, right? In a proof that they are now the part of Union of India, right? So accession of princely state, like when we were discussing about the princely state, so I was saying that there was some reason where we have faced the major difficulties. So that place is Junagadh. You have to be very clear about it. Maybe they can ask you in MCQs. Okay. So Junagadh, Hyderabad, Kashmir and Manipur. These are the four reasons, right? Junagadh, Hyderabad, Kashmir and Manipur, where they have faced the major difficulties while integrating them, right? In Kashmir, we are we have faced the problem even till 2019, right? So that was the problem what we have faced, right? So in this chronology, first we are discussing about the Junagadh, right? So in Junagadh was quite, if we compare with the other region, it was quite easy, because in Junagadh it was resolved by the plebiscites, right? So plebiscite is basically, it was the vote by the people. Okay, so the people somehow assented that they are willing to join the Union territory, right? Indian Union territory. So the first reason, that is Junagadh, their accommodation integration problem was resolved by the plebiscite. Now we are going to discuss about Hyderabad, Kashmir and Manipur in the next slides, right? So the princely state and British province map, right? So can you see here, this is the region of Hyderabad. This is Hyderabad region, right? So we are discussing about this region. So you can see that now it's not in the present map. You will in the current map you will find that there is no Hyderabad. It's a capital state, but there is no region like Hyderabad. So basically at that point it was, now it has become, it got divided into different states, but at that time it was, one princely state, that was Hyderabad, and the Nizam there was very popular ruler at that point. Okay, so we are basically discussing about the Hyderabad, we are discussing about the Kashmir, we are discussing the reasons where we have faced the major problem, right? And then we are discussing about the Manipur, and we have already discussed the Junagadh, right? So be very clear that what we are going to discuss, okay, through this map, right? So basically it was the largest princely state you have seen in the map, right? And then today, if you see the today part of Hyderabad, that is got divided into the current state of Maharashtra, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, right? So this you have to remember, and it's the largest territory. And the important thing is that the name of ruler, he was very popular, he was very rich man, and he was, very popular at that time because it was the largest princely state and he was the ruler of that state. So that's why he was very popular, and he was given the title as Nizam, right? So we basically call him like a Nizam of Hyderabad, right? And then what happened is that, Nizam also wanted to have that independent status for the Hyderabad, but he somehow entered, and that's why he somehow instrument of accession and a standstill agreement, these are two different things, you have to be very clear about it. Okay, so standstill agreement is nothing that they are not going to integrate with the nation states, is just to maintain the status quo. What is status quo? जो भी current में जो भी scenario है या जो भी situation है वही maintain रहे, right? That is the status quo. So standstill agreement is different from the instrument of accession. So here you can see that they have signed, Nizam has signed only the standstill agreement on November 1947, right? And then you have, if you see, I was discussing about that how, people of India were very much willing to join India, but some rulers were not happy, right? So here you can see the most, the group of people who were against the Nizam and they wanted to join India. So basically the three people, the first one is the peasantries, right? Peasantries, okay, they were very much in the forefront of movement against the Nizam, right? And then the second group is the women, okay, so they were also very active. And then the other parties like Communist Party, Hyderabad Congress, they were also against the Nizam. So there was so much of protest were going on at that time against the Nizam. So that was the become one point for us to integrate Hyderabad into Union State. So that was a plus point for us. But you can see this movement against the Nizam because he was also very, princely state were majorly very autocratic. It was not democratic in nature. So people were, that was also the one reason that people were not happy, right? They wanted a democratic structure. So that was also one reason, and that's why there was so much of protest against the Nizam of Hyderabad, right? Okay. So, but it was not easy, right? It made some, ease for India, that protests, but it was not that much easy. Okay, we have, this Rajakars, you can, maybe they can ask you in question, it's a very important term. They have their armies, Nizam's armies, that calls the Rajakars, right? So on one hand, there was Rajakars, and on the other hand, we have a force, central government force, right? So that the army of central government. So the two front, there was a direct rivalry happened between the Rajakars. Rajakars were the armies of Nizam, and then the army of Indian states, Indian government, right? So after this conflict, direct rivalry, what happened is Indian army controlled the Nizam forces. When? On September 1948, and in this way we have integrated the Hyderabad. Okay, so in this way we have integrated, or we have accessed the Hyderabad. So this was all about Hyderabad, and then we are moving next to the other reason, right? So here the next reason is Manipur, right? So the case of Manipur is bit different from the Hyderabad. In case of Manipur, you can see that government pursued the Raja or the king to sign instrument of accession on the assurance that the internal autonomy would remain with the king, right? So it was basically a kind of balance which called the constitutional monarchy. Constitutional monarchy in the sense that the election is also happening, right? Different parties are also playing a role, but somehow the major power remains with the king, right? So it's a constitutional monarchy. So in this case, you can see that in this way, the Manipur became the first region or the first princely state where the election held, right? For the purpose of making it constitutional monarchy, but here's the fact that you should remember that the Manipur became the first region where the election happened. When? So it was in June 1948, right? And it was on the basis of adult franchise, right? So let's just break it down. What is universal? Universal means all, right? Adult means, in case of India, you can see above 18, right? So basically election where everyone, despite gender, caste, class, anything, everyone is taking part in the election and all the adult members are taking part. So when all adult members are taking part, that is universal adult franchise. So the first election held on the basis of universal adult franchise, right? So what happened? How, it was the instrument of accession, but how the merger happened? So there was a different parties in Manipur because the election was election held there. So the Congress party, State Congress Party of Manipur, they were in the favor of joining the Indian state, Indian nation, right? But the other parties were not in that favor, and even the king was also not in that favor. So what happened is some kind of rift happened there, and you can see that the signing of merger agreement happened, but there is still a lot of anger and resentment. Why? Because of that rift, that some were wanted to join the nation, Indian nation, but the other were not. So this happened in Manipur, and this anger and resentment you can find still in the region at this point also, right? So moving next slide. Okay, so we have discussed Hyderabad, we have discussed Junagadh, we have discussed Manipur. Regarding Kashmir, Kashmir is a unresolved issue till 2019. So we are going to discuss about Kashmir in chapter 8. The regional organization, regional aspiration chapter, right? So that Kashmir issues we are going to discuss in chapter number 8. And immediately after this chapter, we are going to discuss that chapter as well, because these are somehow related. So let's just move to the other topics, right? And we will discuss Kashmir. Don't worry about it. We'll discuss Kashmir in chapter number 8, right? Okay. So what were the difficulties? Somehow when we were integrating the nation, our leaders, basically Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and Jawaharlal Nehru, when they were approaching to the, princely state, so they had somewhere in their mind ki unity ko establish karna hai, right? So when we are, when we were planning or we were dreaming for have a unity, तो उसमें कुछ डिफिकल्टीज उसके बाद भी आई, इवन आफ्टर इंटीग्रेटिंग नेशन स्टेट्स, राइट? सो वो क्या डिफिकल्टीज थी? दैट डिफिकल्टीज वाज द डिमांड, राइट? द डिमांड्स फ्रॉम दी ऑल दी रीजन्स ऑफ दी states, and that demand was on the basis of linguistic principle, right? So why, if in the Nagpur session of here it has mentioned that in Nagpur session in 1920, the Congress has itself promised that they will form country on the basis of linguistic boundary, but and earlier it was on the basis of administrative. During the colonial period, it was on the basis of administrative ease. But in Nagpur session, they have somehow, promised that they will form it on the basis of linguistic principles, right? But what happened? What changed suddenly is the trauma of partition, right? So in a very after independence, we have seen the trauma of partition. That how the partition have on the religion basis, right? So on the religion basis, when we have divided the country, so we have seen so much of trauma, so much of partition. So that fear was on in the mind कि भाई एक बार तो religion basis पे हमने divide करके देख लिया, and we have seen the trauma, we have seen the partition का जो consequences था, the mass violence and the all the things we have seen. So उसके बाद में it was very fearful to अगेन अडॉप्ट सच प्रिंसिपल्स. अभी रिलीजन बेसिस पे किया, नाउ रिलीजन बेसिस के बाद में हमारे पास हम क्या करने जा रहे हैं, लिंग्विस्टिक बेसिस पे हम अगर डिवीजन करने जा रहे हैं, तो इट वॉज वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर अस टू डाइजेस्ट, राइट. एंड वी आर वेरी फियरफुल कि हो सकता है कि व्हाट हैपेंड आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस दैट कैन हैपन अगेन इफ वी विल डिवाइड द कंट्री ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ लिंग्विस्टिक प्रिंसिपल्स. सो दैट वॉज द फियर, राइट. एंड दैट्स वाई द सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट पोस्टपोन द मैटर. So, when we have discussed the linguistic basis, so basically the linguistic principle, the demand on the basis on forming the state on the basis of linguistic principle was somehow majorly coming from the Madras regions, right? The Telugu speaking region. So basically the Madras province, right? And it was called the Vishalandhara movement. So Vishalandhara is basically it was the separate to separate Andhra. That was basically to separate Andhra from the Madras province, right? So this you should remember, it's a fact based question, maybe they can ask. So that what was the name of that movement? Vishalandhara movement. And from where that linguistic principle basis demand was coming? So that was from the Telugu speaking areas, right? And then nearly all political forces in basically in Andhra region, they were very much in the favor of linguistic principle, right? So even there was one person called the Poti Sriram Mulla. He was somehow Gandhian also. So he was Gandhian, and he was also in the favor of dividing country or dividing separating Andhra from the Madras province. So because the national government was very much fearful about this, and that's why they didn't approve it. So what happened is that in order to put their demand very seriously, so what happened is that this person, he has gone into the fast, right? So basically this fast was for 56 days, and after what happened is he also died in that fast. So it became a very important discussion at that point ki we have demanded something from the national government, and national government is not giving any concerns to us, aur uski wajah se kya hua, one person has gone to the fast and then he also died. So that become very much point of discussion at that point, and everyone was criticizing the government for that reason. तो उसके बाद से क्या हुआ कि जो लिंग्विस्टिक बेसिस पे जो पोस्टपोन कर दिया गया था कि नाउ वी आर वेरी फियरफुल, वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू डू दिस, तो वो जो था वो फिर से वो रीइमर्ज हुआ, एंड नाउ वी हैव डिसाइडेड दैट वी विल फाइनली separate Andhra from the Madras province. And when that happened on December 1952, right? So after, in the next slide we will discuss that after the formation of Andhra or separating Andhra from the Madras province, what we have done is that we decided that dividing linguistic basis is not an easy task, right? There is a fear that unity can be dispersed, or unity cannot be succeed if there is so much division, right? So there was fear on the, there was one term in our constitution is also mentioned, and we are very much willing to follow it, that is unity in diversity, right? Okay, so unity in diversity, why I'm discussing this here is because at that point we were so much willing to have the unity that we somehow at this point not given so much priority to the diversity, right? So there was some demand coming from different states. Andhra se aa raha tha ki that linguistic basis pe banao, so it was basically diversity, right? They were asking for the diversity, but we were so much fearful that we didn't approve. But finally we approved, and we separated the Madras province, and then from there we have taken the slogan, the unity in diversity, that unity को भी establish करके रखना है, but diversity is if required can also be given. अगर state formation करना है तो हो सकता है, different states बन सकते हैं, but उसके लिए एक बहुत अच्छे से एक स्क्रूटनी होनी चाहिए और उसके लिए एक स्टेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कमीशन बनाया गया, सो दैट जो डिवीजन हो भी रहे हैं वो किसी तरह भी यूनिटी को हैम्पर ना करे. अगर डिवीजन हो भी रहा है, डाइवर्सिटी को हम अगर प्रमोट कर भी रहे हैं, तो दैट शुड नॉट इफेक्ट द यूनिटी, राइट. सो फॉर दैट पर्पज वन organization commission was established, and that was the state reorganization commission, right. So that was the background of forming that state reorganization commission. So basically in 1953, okay, so it was formed in after the 1952 when the Andhra, so you should understand this chronology. First the Andhra, Andhra got separated from the Madras, and then we have formed the state reorganization commission, right. And it was to check whether which state should be divided or whatever. So basically to scrutiny that, okay. So in 1953 that organization was formed, right. And then it's this organization was formed, and they also given their report in 53, and on the basis of that report, right. So on the basis of that report, what happened is they have passed the State Reorganization Act in 1956. So you should understand the chronology that first Andhra was made from the province, and then the State Reorganization Commission 53, they have given their report, and finally the State Reorganization Act was passed in 1956. And what happened after passing this 1956 Act of State Reorganization Act, the creation of 14 states and 6 union territory was made, right. So at the point when the State Reorganization Commission was formed, at that point after this we had this 14 state and 6 union territories. Right now we have we have made so much of changes after 2019 also, but at that point it was the original number, right. You can say that it was the original number, the 14 states and the 6 union territories. Basically a fact you should remember. So here you can see the map. It's a map of 1961 after the formation of State Reorganization Commission. So basically 14 states, right, 14 states and 6 union territory was formed after the report of State Reorganization Commission. And here you can see the map. Map will help you to locate easily. That's why I'm showing you the map, right. So you can see the 14 states and 6 union territories, okay. And moving to the next slide. So here you can see it's a fact, right. It's about the state formation when the state was formed, right. So it's a fact-based thing and you have to learn it, right. So here you can see the first state which got divided was Maharashtra, right, and Gujarat. So it was from the Bombay Presidency, right. So Maharashtra and Gujarat, after Madras, after Tamil Nadu formation, this second happened. Bombay was divided into Maharashtra and Gujarat, right. And then we have taken the Dadra Nagar Haveli and converted into union territories. Now you might have this question, what is union territory and what is a state? So state is somehow a very you can see that when we are saying the state, it has given the independent status, right. Everything from administration to legislation, everything the CM or the state legislative assembly members were managing the things. But in case of UT is somehow controlled by the center, right. So it is for the security purpose, or when we are not confirmed that whether the state will be able to run the reason. In that case, the reason would be given to the center so that they can have a direct control at the UT, right. So on that basis, we sometimes form UTs, and then we sometimes also convert that UTs into state on the basis of our convenience, on the basis of administrative convenience, right. And then we have discussed the Bombay and then the Portuguese. So basically Dadra Nagar Haveli was a part of Portuguese, right. So then it was converted into union territories, and then we have Goa, Daman, Diu, that also we have taken from, so they were also the colony of Portuguese, and then that also converted into union territories. In case of Goa is, here we are converting Goa into union territory, right. Same in 1987, you can see that we are converting the Goa into state. So from union territory to state, right? And in case of this northeastern state, you can see that this 7 sisters. So we can just divide it into 3 parts: 63, 72, and 87. Can you see this? Right. So what happened in 63? Nagaland was formed, right? And then you can see in 72, 2 union territories are formed, Manipur and Tripura, and then the Meghalaya was given the sub-state status, right? And then we can see that the Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh, these are given the status of union territory. And this union territories are here in 1987, they have given the statehood status, right? So in this way, you can understand the northeastern region in 3 ways: 63, 72, 87. And then we have discussed Bombay, and then we are discussing in 1966 Punjab. Okay, so the Punjab has been divided, Punjab divided into first Himachal and Haryana, right? So basically, that was on the basis of linguistic reason, right? So it was divided into Haryana and Himachal on the basis of Haryani speaking people and Punjabi speaking people, right? And then we have in 2000, we have 3 new states. So in 2000 there is something, this is not on the basis of linguistic or some other reason. It was on the basis of administrative convenience. So administrative convenience is because here you can see that this reason, right? So basically Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, it's a large area, right? So it was very difficult for the leaders to manage this entire region. So they have just divided. So it was it was on the basis of administrative convenience. And then there is Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, and here you can see the Jharkhand and Bihar. So it was in the 2000, right? And then after when we are forming a state is not a sudden thing, right? So it's a process. When people start demanded the carving of some state, then the government has to rethink and then to decide what to do and what not to do, right? So and then what happened till 2014, the demands were coming from the Andhra state that the Telangana should be the Andhra state should be carved out from the Andhra, right? So basically in 2014 that demand was accepted, right? And then we have Kashmir issue. Kashmir issue, it's a long driven issue. It started from the 1947. We have discussed the partition, and then there was insurgency, violence, cross-border terrorism was happening, right? So that's why we have given a special status to Kashmir under Article 370. So what happened in 2019? This article was abrogated. Abrogated means they have nullified this article, right? So after they nullified this article, so the special status which has been given to the Jammu Kashmir state, that was also withdrawn, right? And then after this article was abrogated, what happened? The state got divided into 2 parts: Jammu and Kashmir as a union territory and Ladakh as another union territory, and it happened in 2019. Right, and then we have last in 2019 Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman Diu. So basically these were the 2 different UTs and they got merged in 2019. So this is the fact, you have to learn it, and you can see the map also, you can relate it, and in this way this chapter is completed, right? Thank you.